Okay, welcome back to the channel. This week is gonna be a little different, and I'll show you why in a second. But make sure that you guys subscribe if you haven't yet. Make sure that you help me by commenting anything that you guys want. Share the video, like it, all those things. But it's gonna be a little different week because yes, I will be starting the back squat cycle, but I will also be showing you guys 1 week inside of the athlete program. So I have 3 programs: the weightlifting program for weightlifters, the athlete, which is usually it's a GPP, so it trains all general qualities, so it's not specific to any sport, but everything that you do in the program will serve you in any sport that you are in. So speed, agility, strength, mobility, endurance, all those things are covered in the program, and no sports strength and conditioning should lack any of these qualities. So if you are a Division 1 athlete, if you are a high school athlete, if you are any type of athlete and you want to get stronger, faster, more explosive, better at changing directions, more mobile, more endured, this is the program for you. And I'll show you guys a week of that program while still including my Olympic weightlifting and still including the beginning of a back squat cycle. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting the week, we got a acceleration / lower body dominant workout. I do program all full body sessions. Just the main movement of that session will be lower body for today. So we got 10-yard accelerations. You don't have to use the blocks. I wanted to use the blocks. Well, we used it for 1 rep and then we decided not to use it. But 10-yard, we're measuring 10-yard dashes. I think my best one today was 172, which is not really good. Apparently my top end speed running is better than my acceleration, and maybe acceleration is what is keeping me from running a better 40-yard dash. So this will be on the program. You'll see this a lot. Short accelerations are not only they are less fatiguing, they are less sore inducing, so therefore you can do more of it, more frequency. You'll see it 2 to 3 times per week in the program. In the program there's 5 days and we'll go over it, but today is acceleration and then lower body. We normally do a plyo, which in this case was a sprint. We do a Olympic weightlifting variation. In this case it's going to be the power snatch. In the program, obviously in my weightlifting program, I'm assuming that people that want to get into it have a little knowledge of weightlifting. But either way, in both programs there are beginner progressions to the snatch. So even if it says power snatch and you just join, you can do a power snatch. It shows you all the variations and progressions that I go through different blocks, and you can also see those on my Instagram. But essentially, squat, so we sprinted, we snatched, and then we're squatting. The squatting for me today will be back squat 10 reps. Again, starting the cycle. If you remember the front squat cycle, is exactly the same thing, but on a back squat. So 10, 8, 6, 4 as we go through the weeks. And today we're going a heavy 10, and then a back off step at 90%. So we worked up to 255 for 10, which was very, very hard. Definitely a PR. Way past my PR in terms of if we calculate the theoretical 10 rep max out of my 1 rep max. I think my goal today was like 235, and I ended up doing 255. So really starting the block strong, but also starting the block off really, really sore. And we'll talk about how to approach this at the end and throughout, but especially at the end. So if you want to know if you get sore and what to do. If you get as sore as I was this week, just stick around until the end of the video. So 255 for 10. Again, I try to keep the sessions as I've been lifting throughout the years. I've been seeing that my sessions get shorter and shorter because the amount of intensity I want to put into the exercise that I care about just take a very, very large toll. So if after this 10 rep squat I had a lot of exercise left, I'd be the best idea and probably skip it. So what I tend to do is kind of like a full body session every week or every day that I train, but taking into account different components, right? So let's say in a full body session, we have a push, we have a pull, we have a hinge, we have a squat, and probably potentially some core or some plyos. We took care of the plyos. The snatch will take care of the press. Again, it's not necessarily a press per se, but it helps. Having weight overhead does provide a stimulus to the upper body. So I'm using it as the press today. And the pull, right, the pull of the snatch, I'm using that as the hinge of the day. So that takes care of a couple of things, especially if you go heavy on a power snatch. The pull, the explosive pull, will provide the adaptations that you want. Squat with the squats, and then we only have an upper pull left, and you'll see that we'll do weighted chin-ups at the end. So that's how I envision a full body session, and that is how Mondays typically look like with the athlete program. Again, 255 for 10, drop set or back off set at 90%, which was around 235. I think it was 237 or something like that, but we did 235. Still very, very hard, especially after the 255 set of 10. Weighted chin-ups. We've worked up to a heavy set of 5. I suck at chin-ups again. I think if you're writing your own program, and I've said this before, it is very likely that whatever you hate will turn out to be one of your weaknesses. So program the things that you hate until you don't hate them. And you can start slow. You don't need to start as heavy as possible, get sore, hate them even more. Just program chin-ups, start with assisted chin-ups, get into body weight, then get into weighted. And then I promise you that when you get good at them, you won't start hating them. And that's normally how it works. It works definitely for me. I still hate chin-ups, so I try to program them a lot. And if you've been following the program or the videos for a long time, you'll see that I tend to skip them very often. I try to do my best not to, and I think one of the main things why I keep my workouts shorter is because of that, because I tend to skip those things that are at the end. Day 2 is gonna be a upper body dominant upper body dominant, and then conditioning. So those upper body days, we start with a warm-up. I know this as running warm-ups, but I've used the same concepts as isometric warm-ups. And essentially you choose 3 weaknesses that I tend to focus more on isolation weaknesses, like adductors, you can see, wrist extensions, and some upper back work. And then you do like around 4 sets of 25, 4 hard sets, 3 hard sets, any type of plyo or any type of isometric, and then you ensure that you don't skip it. That is your warm-up. You don't do that at the end, you do that at the beginning. You've done it, you've done a hard set of each, so you got a good stimulus for that, and then you move on, and you don't have to worry about them at the end. We start with an upper plyo, and today I did some throws. Notice how I extend very back. I normally do that just to ensure that I go through a full range of motion on my shoulders. It feels better when I do it. My shoulders open up for the bench, and for the clean as well, it could work. Again, so upper body day. It was cut a little short, especially the clean, because I had to do something for work, but doesn't really matter. We move on. So again, upper body main. We did the cleans we did the med balls as our plyo. We did our cleans as a technical coordination movement. We are gonna do we're gonna do Nordic curls, and then we're gonna do tempo runs. Easy warm up. Again, it's called upper body. I know there's a clean, and I know there is a Nordic curl, but I normally associate the names of the day based on my main movement. Again, the movement that's gonna take the most out of you today is gonna be the incline press. So that's why I consider it an upper body movement, because of the incline press. The Nordic curls are going to be accessories. Yes, they're hard, but they're going to be accessories. The clean is going to provide a stimulus, but not as much of a CNS strength hypertrophy stimulus as the bench press today. And again, if you think about it, we got a pull with the clean, we got a squat with the clean, we got a push with this, so we're missing just a little hamstring action with the Nordic hamstring curl. So we cover the 4 qualities that I think make a full body day, and that's how I program full body. Again, we worked up to, this is not exactly how it is on the app on the program today, or the day that you're seeing right now. It's also, I am doing kind of like I did a bench press cycle. I'm going to do an incline bench cycle and see how it transfers over to the bench. So we did heavy set of 10. I thought I had 185 in me. I did 7 reps, and then we backed off at, I don't know what that was, 165 or something. Some Nordics. I want to get to a full Nordic. That is definitely one of my low priority goals. Still a goal, but low priority. Main goals, you know them. Operation GPP. Watch my first video. It's on my Instagram. It's everywhere, so you guys can keep me accountable to it. And we did tempo runs. Again, conditioning is something that for most athletes, especially if you're in college, you're in season or anything, is going to be covered. A lot should be covered by practice. If you don't think you get enough out of practice, you probably should be trying harder in practice, or doing a little more of your sport. Because again, when we talk about, you should be fit to play a full tennis match, a full football game. Like, I'm not saying that obviously football is a different sport, but let's say, for example, tennis, right? You should be playing a lot of tennis matches to get in tennis match shape, because the situations are very specific. But in general, in the program, I try to get at least 100 to 150 minutes of conditioning. That you should be taking care of that in practice if you're practicing, but if not, it's a good idea to add that to the program. And one of my favorite is tempo runs. You'll go through my progression, you'll see it. But yeah. And then third day, we enter a top speed / lower body day. So top speed, we didn't run a lot. We were really, really sore. It felt like a bad idea to run a lot. So we just did 2 good reps. I showed you one. I didn't film the other. But again, full body, right? We go sprint as our plyo. We got split jerks for our press. We got squats for our squats. Technically, during this day will always be a deadlift for the athlete program. But because I am doing a squat cycle, I did a variation of a squat, which I'll show you in a second. And then we go into some upper body pulling. Again, same thing. You'll see split jerks in here. you'll maybe see split jerks on the program, but there's different variations that you can do, like landmine, dumbbell, and you'll see a ton of progressions in the notes, how to progress from push press to power jerk to split jerk, how to correct some forms. You'll see everything on the program. But essentially, our second day of the back squat cycle, in general, are squats that are going to target our weaknesses. So for me, it's a low block or a low box safety bar squat. For front squat, I did a front squat because for me it's not very taxing to be there, but pulling the bar down for 3 days in a week, I have found it to be a little bit straining on my shoulders and wrists. So today we just went for, or in general in this vlog, we're gonna go for safety bar squat, control on the shoulders, works on your upper back, which is a limiting factor for me. So it's really, really good. It's a really good variation to target all my weaknesses in one movement. We worked up to 225, which was really, really good, seeing that my goal was around 185 to 195, but 195 felt good, went to 205, and then went to 225. I was feeling good. It was a really good, again, we were super, super sore. We weren't able to run. Split jerks felt iffy, but as soon as we got into the rhythm, especially if you get good training partners, a good group to be on, we got into a rhythm, we got into the groove, and we went really, really hard on the squats, and it was really, really good. It was awesome. That box, 15 inches, is exactly where my sticking point is, and you can see it clearly by how slow I move out of that box. My computer logged me out, give me a second. There it is. How slow I move out of that box, it's just like, the sticking point is right there. And then it just works on me pushing to the bar and trying to be upright and pushing towards the bar to maintain good positioning through the sticking point. Great variation. Like I love this. I actually hate this variation, which is why I love to program it for myself. And I really feel that after 4 or 5 weeks, it really translates well to the squats. And then some upper pulling. Notice how I am not super horizontal. Yes, if you want full stimulus on the lats, a better, more horizontal will put you in a better stretch, in a more compromised position. Essentially, yes, be able to get a little more with a little less weight. But what I think about when I do back, especially for me, seeing how I Olympic lift, as in I tend to be weak at the pull or keeping the bar close because my back just doesn't hold the weight. I just think more about weight rather than, it's not bad form, but I would rather be upright, a little more upright, and row with a little more weight than be super horizontal. I think that I found that translates better to my Olympic lifts. 4th day, we got what I called an athlete day. I got that term from Garage Strength, Dane Miller, a really good channel, you should check it out. But I like the terminology of a athlete day. So essentially, athlete day are different qualities, and the way I program it is sprints, mainly short sprints. And we were really sore at this point, so flat sprints were definitely hurting my shins and my knees and everything in my body. So we just did hill sprints felt a little better, so we just did a lot of hill sprints. Hill sprints allow you to get more volume in with less contact, or with less impact, which is really good. So we normally think about sprints. I think about a max effort vertical jump, a max effort broad jump, and then double leg reactive, so continuous jumps, and single leg reactive. So there's 5 components to this day. You won't see most of it. 1, because I am trying also to get my Olympic weightlifting in, and 2, because we were extremely sore. So my shins and my knees and my adductors, and it wasn't even like, it's not like the joints, it was just the muscles, like it was not the day to take all that contact. So I sprinted, I maximally vertical jump, which was absolutely dog shit. It was really, really bad. I think my best was 23.4 or something like that. It was bad, but again, we tried. And then I tried to include some med ball throws instead of jumping, just to get a little plyo in, but not so much plyo. Normally what I would do, for myself, what I'm doing is snatch pulling. Again, as I talked about in the last video, I'm trying to include more snatch pulls in this program for myself in the weightlifting program. So if you follow the weightlifting program, you'll see there's a lot too now, especially now, a lot of snatch pulls, so I can work on the snatch deadlift, snatch pull, and making weights feel lighter off the ground when I'm about to snatch. And I think snatch pulls, snatch deadlifts translate really well to clean pulls as well, because of the upper back extra work that you get out of the wide grip. But again, we should be focusing on, we didn't do broad jumps because the landing was, we were not having it today. But, and as I hope in a minute you'll see it, I had one of my athletes demonstrate kind of like a sequence of jumps that we go. So this, what I would deem this is our hurdle jumps. So, but we didn't have hurdles and it was very cold outside, so we just did it with boxes inside. But that would be a reactive double leg drill. So you land, you jump again, you land, you jump again, and then you have different distances, broad to vertical. Those things just make you be a little more coordinated. Right? You need to make sure that you take into account the difference of jumping broadly, jumping vertically, the difference of jumping from like a wider box, smaller box. Those are good drills that I include in the program. And again, during the athlete program, that would be a double leg reaction or reactive jumps or continuous jumps. Again, this is the second day of the incline cycle. Again, this is not going to be in the athlete program. Today in the athlete program is predominantly body weight, explosive, plyometric work. Again, if we go back, sprints, maximal vertical, maximal broad, reactive double leg, reactive single leg. We couldn't show a lot of that. I mean, the only one that we didn't show, I guess, is, well, we didn't show the broad, and we're not going to show the single leg reactive. We just were very sore this day. Again, it's different, right? I'm trying to include everything together, and that seems to be the theme with me. I'm trying to do everything together. Like in the program, you won't have so much squatting, so much Olympic weightlifting volume because of that, because that takes the toll. It makes you super sore, and you can focus on the important things like speed or agility or plyometrics. But me trying to include everything, I was super sore, and that's what happened. So that's why I do it before you guys do it, just to show you guys, or make sure to show you what happens when you do everything versus not, and how to approach training when you're training for everything, and what to do when you don't want to. But also it helps me program, right? If it's too much, then I edit the week and to see like, okay, this might not be it, I go again. That's why I do my own programs, so you guys don't suffer anything that I could suffer. And but I'm not suffering anything, just extreme soreness. But yeah, and Max Out Friday, again, not a thing on the athlete program, a thing of weightlifters. So just maxing out. We were supposed to go, or I was supposed to go through waves, but I went to 160 or something. I failed 155, and I've been doing waves for the last 4 weeks, and yes, like 82, 85, maybe 90% is heavy, but I felt like 155, I felt heavy off the floor, and I didn't like that feeling, so I said, screw it, I'm gonna max out, and we went max out for both the snatch and the cleans. I hate the feeling of losing the feeling of heavy weights, so if I felt good, I just go for a 1 rep max. That is on the weightlifting program as well. There are percentages, but it says if you feel good, you should go for a 1 rep max, because that is the sport. And essentially, if you can do these days consistently, Strength Fridays, where you max out snatches and clean and jerks, that is the sport. That is how we condition for the sport, and that way it ensures that you're always ready for the sport if you decide to compete or do anything of that sort. 175 snatch, felt good, felt snappy, felt the first one. I think that I was surprised on how much the bar flew on the first one, and I wasn't ready for it. And then I felt snappy on the second one, and I was ready for it. It's feeling really good. 175 for now at this time before my next competition in May I think it's really good. Consistently doing 175s and 215s on my clean and jerk is a good sign for me. In the athlete program, let's see if I find it. In the athlete program, Fridays are more like Tuesdays. So it's upper body and conditioning. Conditioning is zone 2. So conversational, long, steady state, low intensity cardio for as fast as you can still maintain a conversation. And then we build up on time over time. We build up time over time. And then we would have some type of a press, like a push press, a shoulder press, a pull, and then some type of lunge. And then in the lunge, there could be a lot of things. We can work on lateral mobility with the lateral lunge. We can work on some internal rotation with the curtsy lunge. We can do side lateral steps, side step ups, front step ups, a lot of variation there. Third day of the squat cycle, I keep going back and forth, so we'll review everything later. Third day of the cycle, we go for intensity. Today is kind of like, for me, it's a kind of baseline. Like if 295 feels good, rack it, you don't do any more. It feels good, probably gonna PR at the end of the cycle. This might be the best triceps builder slash most tricep soreness inducing. Again, something that I took from Dave Miller, Grad Strength. I feel I keep saying his name a lot, but I do watch him a lot. He has really good content, especially for athletes and weightlifters. You should go check him out. But he calls it the Miracle Girl. It's like essentially a tricep extension with a exaggerated stretch at the bottom. So that is the week. Let's review it for a second because there was a lot of up and down. In the athlete program, there's going to be 5 days. The first day is going to be acceleration and lower body primarily. Second day is going to be upper body and conditioning. Third day is going to be top end speed, so longer sprints and lower body. And then on the fourth day is going to be kind of like I wouldn't say deload, but no weights. It's going to be just an athlete day where we run, we sprint, we jump, we throw, all those little things the athletes need to take care of. and then Friday, upper body and more conditioning. That's how a week looks on the athlete program. Please join if you haven't yet. I think it is very good, very, very concise. It's not super long. You can take care of it in 1 hour, 1 hour and 15. The short amount of exercises allow you to put more effort into those exercises, and most of them are primarily compound because that it gives you more bang for your buck. And yeah, I think we need to talk about two things, right? One, if you're doing the back squat cycle with me on the Kaizen Weightlifting Program, you will potentially be really, really sore. Now, if you're in the weightlifting program, you won't have to run. You won't have to jump as much, a little bit, but not as much as you did in the athlete program. So you won't notice it as much, but you will still be very, very sore. Now, during these times of soreness, you have to decide what are your priorities, which in this case, if you're doing the back squat cycle, I think back squat or squatting in general should be the priority. And then what can you do about the non-priority? Like, I'm not saying the Olympic weightlifting is not a priority, but if you're trying to build the back squat, focus on that. If you need to deload the Olympic weightlifting, you should deload either by going lower in weight or choosing different variations, right? Maybe you want to work on no foot snatches, and that's going to allow you to do less weight because no foot snatches are a little less weight. Maybe you want to try, no hook grip, just to limit the weight too. Like, you can try different limiting factors like that, or you just can reduce the weight and go as heavy as you can go that day with that specific amount of soreness. You also need to make sure you control your nutrition. And I got a question, or I got an answer on Instagram about how I cook to make sure I keep up with my workouts and the energy balance. And my short answer is I just eat a lot. I try to eat relatively good food. Like, the good thing about a front or cycle like this, like a back squat cycle, is that I don't tend to worry a lot if I go out to eat with my girlfriend or this or that. Like, I don't worry about it a lot because it's not that I'm gonna overeat by a lot of calories and I'm gonna get like a higher body fat percentage, but I just eat a little more than usual. Trying to get snacks throughout the day, trying to get intra-workout carbs throughout the sessions. I cook a lot of steak, I cook a lot of chicken. That's going to take care of a lot of the protein. But yeah, I don't necessarily overthink it. Just make sure that you eat a good amount of protein and then a little more than usual so that your body can recover. And then also make sure you sleep a lot. That should take care of everything. You will still feel sore. I sleep a good amount, I eat a good amount, and I'm still really, really sore up to this day from Monday, and it's Sunday. So, or it's Saturday. So it's going to be tough, but I promise you, I've done this cycle before. If you get through the first week, trying to, again, to prioritize the priorities, deload the non-priorities. Again, load management, key to everything when it comes to performance. And if you get through the first week without quitting and you go to the second week, you'll see that after this cycle, after that first week, nothing, if you keep training consistently, nothing will make you sore. Nothing. Like, that last time I did this cycle, I could squat, I could play tennis, I could do everything without getting sore in my legs. Like, my leg capacity just went through the roof. And that is why I am doing this now, just to make sure that when I enter my competition prep cycle, that nothing in that cycle will make me sore, and I can keep intensities high, I can keep volume high without getting too sore to skip anything. I said at the beginning, but please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share the video, comment what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, what do you want me to talk about, what do you want me to write about, what do you want to see more on my Instagram, YouTube, anything. Share the video. And yeah, Thank you for watching.